So I just want to give everyone like 10 seconds because I was really moved by your water. Okay, I don't know. All my thoughts just left my head because it was like, and then suddenly I have to walk up here. Okay. So I wanted to tell a story that I told previously with no notes. So today I'm going to honor that and have no notes too. Nervous, not a performer. Okay. When I was a little kid, I was always really, I guess you would say the buttercup of the playground. Whenever a boy seemed to be flirting with my friend, I'd take out my barrette and like threaten to stab him, you know. Like, I was tough. I was king of my playground. But at the very edges of the playground of my elementary school, that's where the handball courts were, and it was totally different. There was like a shadow over the handball court. All the middle schoolers played there. They were tough. They had really, to me, like bulging biceps, and I was terrified of that place. And that was one place where I could not go. I was intimidated. They were bigger than me. And so fast forward 10 years, I'm walking around in Chinatown, and I pass by the Grand Street handball court, and I feel that feeling of intimidation and fear again, out of nowhere. And so, being the person that I am, I'm like, I need to conquer this fear. This fear is unacceptable. And so what do you do when you're in college and you want to conquer a fear? You study it. So for an anthropology class I was taking, I decided to do a student ethnography of the Grand Street handball courts. So I decided to do this in the middle of winter, perfect time to study an outdoor sport. So I'm there, and it's like 15 degrees, and I have my huge coat on, and I'm really praying that there's someone there playing that I can talk to. And so I go up to the court. I'm wearing this huge, like, floor-length beige jacket. I look like a snowball. I have my backpack on, my pen, my notebook, and I go up to this court. And maybe now's a good time to describe the court for those of you that haven't walked by it. So actually, Lawrence had a photo of it up. And so it's kind of like, to me, it was like an arena. It was sunken down in the ground. There were people on top that could watch you play. There was an enormous wall in the middle. And towards the back were the noises from the basketball court. So this sunken rectangle with the concrete in the middle and then the fence in the back. So I walked up to the very entrance, and there were guys playing there. They were mostly men, Chinese American men, and which was important. I noted that down. They had this system where they were rotating, and there's this one guy at the front, and I walked up to him. And I told you guys it was 15 degrees, but he was in a tank top, and he had his like polarized sunglasses on. And so I was like, "Excuse me, I'm a student, and I'm doing an ethnography, and I would really love for you to explain to me what's going on." And he turned to me, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I swear his like biceps bulged at me. I'm so sorry. And then he took off his sunglasses, and it turns out he's like an elementary school teacher, and like, you know, we got along just great. And he was explaining to me like doubles and singles and like the bounciness of the ball and this one corner where you can't go because unspeakable things happen in that corner. And so I gained confidence. You know, I had my data sets and I made my tables. And so the first week I only stayed at the entrance. The second week I moved towards the back. And then by the very last week of my ethnography, I was like pressed up against the fence, you know, talking to old friends that knew me as the student, the awkward student who came all the time in her big puffy jacket. And throughout this entire process, two things were constant. First, they would all ask me at the end of their interviews whether I'd like to play with them. And the second thing that was always constant was that I always did not want to play with them. There were a number of reasons. The first was a very racist reason in the field of anthropology. You don't want to go native, which means you don't want to be so caught up in the process of whatever you're studying that you lose your supposed objectivity. And also, I mean, I was really scared because I don't know if you guys have seen handball, but you contort your body in these crazy athletic, like, motions, and as you can see, I have like four left hands, and so I said no, and plus I was conquering my fear. You know, I had all these papers that I could cite and resources that I could look up online, until this one night. It was my last week of doing this ethnography, and I came a little late for whatever reason. My train was delayed. And I walked up, it was all dark. There were 3 guys that I knew before. One of them was the elementary school teacher, and he came up to me and was like, hey, you're a little late, but we're meeting our friend, and you can interview him because he's been playing for, you know, years and years. And I was like, okay, sure. And so his friend comes up. It's totally dark, but for some street lamps. His friend comes up, and he's like, who are you? And I say, hello, my name is Alina, I'm a student, I'm trying to study handball. And he's like, great, have you played? And I'm like, no. And he's like, why not? And I'm like, I'm scared. And then he cuts me off. He's like, how are you going to study something if you've never played it? And he got me. So he took out a ball, and he was like, we're going to walk to the middle of this court. And so we did. And let me tell you, it's terrifying. It's like walking into the bottom of a swimming pool. You see darkness all around you, but the bright light's on you. And there's this big concrete wall in front of you, and all I have is this rubber ball and this guy that's trying to teach me how to play, and he's already like lighting a cigarette because he's like, he's sure this will be a piece of cake. And so I take the ball, and I'm like shaking. I've taken off my puffy coat. I put away my notebook, and I take the ball, and everyone's watching me, and well, the 3 guys, and I bounce the ball on the floor, and I try to hit it, and I'm too slow. So then I bounce it again, I try to hit it, and I'm too fast. And as you know, things come in 3s. And so I try to bounce it again, and I connect, and it hits the it hits the wall, and it comes back, and they're playing like a little game with me, and you know, and the guys are cheering, and you know. I feel really good about myself, and this one guy goes, you were born to play handball, and I was like, that's not true, but yes, maybe I was. I don't know, you're saying it, not me. And then after that, I realized that the fear that I was trying to conquer in this arena wasn't really, diagnosed correctly the first time. I wasn't scared of handball at all. I was just scared of being told that I couldn't join them.